So as we learned before, the entire ledger used in Bitcoins, the whole blockchain, is public. So the ledger contains all transactions done using Bitcoins. For each transaction, anybody can see the sender address, the receiver address, and the amount. Now, if the sender and the receiver are using proper OPSEC and obtain their Bitcoins anonymously, then these addresses will not be tied to their identities. But like I said, there are a number of ways that these addresses can tie to a person's identity. The easiest is if the person bought Bitcoins using a coin exchange that requires identity verification, or if the person or the entity you're sending coins to has made their address public and is linked to an actual identity. For example, if you're sending money to a known store or to a known market. Therefore, based on this information, anyone can analyze the blockchain. They can know exactly the balance of each address by tracing the amount of money sent to this address, so they can know how much money is in your wallet. They can track your spending habits, and based on that, they can profile you and serve you more things, more ads, and so on. Not only that, but if you have a considerable amount of coins, then you'll become a target because people know that you have a lot of coins in your wallet, again by tracing the amount of coins sent to your address. Not to mention the fact that if you're sending money to an entity that is linked to an actual identity, or if your actual identity gets linked to your address, then this will reveal even more information that you might not want to be public. All of this was the incentive to making a more private cryptocurrency. There is a number of private cryptocurrencies. The most popular at the moment is Monero or XMR. Now, it's similar to Bitcoin. It's decentralized, so there is no single entity that controls it. But unlike Bitcoin, it is private. So if you analyze the whole blockchain, you won't be able to get useful information on who is sending money to whom and the amount sent. So you can see addresses, but the addresses used are temporary and secured. Therefore, you can't see the actual sender, you can't see the actual receiver, and you can't see the real amount being transferred. Therefore, what you analyze is not very useful, the transactions are untraceable, and the sender and receiver are not linkable. All of this is achieved using ring signatures, ring confidential transactions, and stealth addresses. The exact way how all of this works is a little bit complex, and it dives too much on how blockchain and cryptocurrencies work. Therefore, I'm not going to cover it in this course, but I will include useful resources in the resources section of this lecture, which you can read for further information. Now, unfortunately, Tails does not come with a Monero wallet. We have to manually install it, but installing it is very, very easy. So let's go to Tails and see how to do that. First of all, you need to go to the download page of the official Monero website. I'll include its link in the resources of this lecture. And you want to scroll down to the Linux download link. Now I have the 64-bit version of Tails installed. Therefore, I'm going to click in here to download the 64-bit version of the Monero wallet. Now, just like any other download, you want to click on Save File and select the location where you want to download it. So by default, it goes into Amnesia Tor browser. And as you can see, I've already downloaded it in here. So I'm not going to click on Save, but in your case, you want to click on Save and wait for it to fully download the wallet for you. I'm going to click on Cancel because I've already downloaded it before this lecture to save time. And as you can see, I already have it here in my Tor browser directory. And before interacting with this file, just like any file we download from the internet, we need to make sure that this file did not get modified as it was being downloaded, because as explained before, anything that you download from the internet can be edited and modified at a number of locations as it's being downloaded. So previously, we saw how to verify downloads using their PGP signature. The verification process really depends on the information the developer is giving us. So as you can see in this case in here, the developer is not giving us a PGP signature. Instead, it's giving us a SHA-256 hash. So to verify a downloaded file with its SHA-256 hash, we need to go to Applications, Accessories, and we're going to use an application called GTK hash. I'm going to open this application, and in the file field in here, I'm going to select the file that I want to verify its hash. This is the file that I just downloaded. So I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to go to Tor browser. And this is the file that we just downloaded. I'm going to click on Open, and I'm going to click on Hash to calculate its hash. Now we have the SHA-256 hash in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this and compare it to the hash that the developer is giving us here on the download page. Now, as you can see, the hashes match. This means that the file did not get modified as it's been downloaded, because if a single bit is changed in that file, the hash that I just calculated manually on my local computer will not correspond to the hash that we have on the web page in here. So because the hashes are matching, this means that the file did not get modified since this hash right here got calculated. So we can interact with this file now safely as long as we trust the developer that gave us the file. So I'm going to right click this file because it's a package, and I'm going to click on extract here to extract it. Okay, perfect, that's done. So you can leave it here, but if you leave it here, as you know, Tails is amnesic, so when we restart the computer, these files will not exist. Therefore, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it in my persistent directory. So right click and paste. And if we navigate inside it, we'll actually see another directory for the application itself. So I'm actually just going to cut this and paste it outside just to make it easier to access. And I'm going to delete the empty one. And I'm going to rename this one to just Monero GUI, again, just to make it easier to access. And if we navigate inside this directory, you'll see we have a number of files that's needed by the wallet application. And the main file that starts the wallet is this file right here, the startgui.sh. Now this is a bash file, which means that it can only be executed from the terminal, from the Linux terminal. Now, if you've done any of my other courses, this will be very, very easy for you. If you haven't, then don't worry about it. In the next lecture, I'll show you how to run it and create our first Monero wallet. Okay, so now that we have the wallet application downloaded, verified, and extracted in our persistent directory, in this lecture, I'm going to show you how to run this application and use it to create a Monero wallet. Now, as I said in the previous lecture, the file that runs the wallet application is this one. It is a bash file, therefore it needs to be executed from the terminal. To do this, we can start a terminal in the current working directory by right-clicking the directory that we want to open the terminal in and click on Open in Terminal. As you can see, you'll get a terminal window, but this terminal is already in persistent Monero GUI, which is the directory that we requested the terminal in, which is again persistent Monero GUI. Now we can use the ls command and hit enter to see all of the directories and files in the current working directory. And as you can see, all of these files and directories are identical to what we see in here. And what we want to do is we want to execute this file right here, the startgui.sh. Again, we can see it in here. And to execute it, all we have to do is type // followed by the file name, which is startgui.sh. Hit enter, give it some time, and the wallet graphical interface will start for you. You can use the language here to change the language, or click on continue if you're happy with English. Now we're going to have to use the advanced mode in here because we're going to use this wallet on Tails, and we'll have to manually configure it to use an Onion service to sync with the Monero blockchain. So I'm going to click on advanced mode. And as you can see now, the steps that we're going to go through are very similar to the steps that we went through when we created the Electrum Bitcoin wallet. So the first option will allow us to create a new wallet. The other options will allow us to restore an existing wallet. You can restore from a hardware device, from a wallet file, or from a seed or a key. Now, we don't have a wallet yet, so we're going to click on Create a New Wallet to create a new wallet. Now, the first thing it's going to ask us for is the wallet name, and I'm going to call this John Wick Wallet. Next, you'll have to set the wallet location. Keep in mind, on Tails, everything gets deleted every time you restart the computer. Therefore, if you keep this to the default location, your wallet will be deleted once you restart Tails, and you'll have to restore it using the seed in here. If you don't want this to happen, if you want to always be able to access the wallet from your Tails installation, click on Browse and change the location to somewhere within the persistent directory. Now, as we know, everything within the persistent will not be deleted when the computer restarts, and therefore you'll always be able to access the wallet from within your current installation. So you'd want to navigate to the persistent directory, and as you can see, we already have a directory called Monero GUI. This is the directory that contains the wallet GUI that we're using right now. So it'll make sense to place our wallet inside it in here. So I'm going to click on this icon in here to create a new directory, and I'm going to call this directory wallets. And I'm going to click on choose to store my wallet inside this directory. So my wallet is going to be stored in home, amnesia, persistent, Monero GUI, wallets. And as you can see, we have the directory here created because we created it within this working directory. Now, it's also a good idea to copy the seed, which you can use to restore the wallet in case the file got deleted, or if you wanted to use the wallet from a completely different computer, you can restore your wallet using this seed. And you can use this number in here as the block number when restoring your wallet, and using this number will help you restore the wallet much quicker. Once it's done with everything, click on Next. Now it's going to ask us to set a password for the wallet. It's going to ask you for the daemon settings, so you can keep this to the default, which will start a node automatically in the background on your system. This option will download the whole Monero blockchain on your computer. This is the most private way of using Monero, but keep in mind the size of the blockchain is more than 25 gigabytes. So you'll have to wait. So first of all, you need to have enough storage. Second, you'll need to wait for all of this data to be downloaded. Keep in mind the download speed is reduced when you're using Tails because everything is going through the Tor network. Third, this is a resource hungry process, so you need a powerful enough computer to do that. Alternatively, you can click on Connect to a remote node. With this option, we're going to use a remote node to sync with the Monero blockchain. This means that we'll be able to instantly use the blockchain, we'll be instantly able to send and receive funds, and we won't need to download the whole blockchain. So, in order to use this option, we need a remote server that we'll sync with. And I'm going to include links in the resources to a website where you can get Onion services that can be used as nodes. All you'll have to do is literally copy the server in here and paste it in the server location and set the port to the port that we have in here, which is 18099. Hit next. It's going to show you a review of all the settings that you selected. We're going to say yes, that's fine. Open the wallet for me, please. And as you can see, this will show us the interface of the wallet. Now, as you can see, it's telling us that we are disconnected, but now it's trying to connect, it's trying to sync with the remote node that we gave it. And you'll see that this will be very, very quick. Unlike the other option where you start the node locally, in which you'll have to wait for the whole blockchain to be downloaded, which, like I said, is over 25 gigabytes. And perfect, as you can see, the wallet is synchronized, the daemon is synchronized. If we click on the account in here, we'll be able to access our account page. And as you can see, we have 0 funds because we literally just created the wallet. And that's it. Right now we have our Monero wallet created. Using the wallet in here is very similar to Electrum. As you can see, we have the accounts page, which shows a summary of the account. We can use the send to send funds, receive to get the receive address and receive funds, and transactions to see our transactions. Don't worry about all of this. We will use this more in the next lectures, and you'll get very comfortable with it. Now, before moving on, I just want to show you how to log back into this wallet after restarting Tails, because logging in is slightly different than what you're used to with Electrum and other wallets. So I'm going to close everything and I'm going to restart Tails. And now that I'm back and logged in, I'm going to go to the location where I stored my wallet GUI, which is in persistent. So I'm going to go to home. I'm going to go to persistent, and it's stored in here in Monero GUI. And as you know, we need to execute this bash file from terminal. So I'm going to right click this, open in terminal, and to execute this file, we're going to type // followed by the file name, which is startgui.sh. This will start the wallet GUI, but as you can see, it starts it as if it's the first time. So unlike Electrum, it wasn't able to detect that I already have a wallet on the system. So we're going to click on continue, that's fine. And at the next step, we're going to say we want to go with the advanced mode. And instead of creating a new wallet, we want to restore our existing wallet. You can use the last option to restore it using the seed, which you should have stored, or you can click on open a wallet from file and select the file where you stored the wallet. So we're going to click on browse file system, and I'm going to navigate to the location where I stored my wallet. So if you remember, we stored it in our persistent directory inside Monero GUI. And I should have stored it inside wallets, that's why I created that directory, but I accidentally stored it in this directory. So we can see we have a file called John Wick Wallet. This is the name of my wallet. And inside it, I have the wallet keys. So we're going to select that and click on open. I'm going to put the wallet password. And this will log me back into the wallet. Now we're still not ready because as you can see, the wallet is not connected because the daemon did not start. I'm gonna click on use custom settings in here because remember, we want to use custom settings to connect through a remote node. So we'll have to do this manually again. We're gonna have to click on remote node in here. And we're going to use the same remote node information that we used when we set up the wallet. We actually have to do all of this because the settings of the wallet got deleted after our restart. So again, you'll need to go to moneroworld.com/nodes and copy the node hidden service in here. Remember the port 18099, paste the URL, put the port, and connect. And as you can see now, it's going to start connecting to the node, synchronizing with it so that you can go ahead and start using your wallet. And right now the wallet is synchronized and the daemon is synchronized. So if we go to our account, we'll be able to retrieve the amount that we have, which is 0, as you can see in here. And we can send and receive funds, like I said, and like I'm going to show you in the next lectures. Now that we know what Monero is and why it's so anonymous, in this lecture I want to talk about how we can buy Monero anonymously. Now this task was much more challenging when we were talking about Bitcoin because, as mentioned before, Bitcoin's ledger or the blockchain is entirely public. Therefore, if our identity is linked to an address, any transaction sent to and from this address will be linked to our identity. This is not the case with Monero. As mentioned in the previous lecture, Monero uses ring signatures to hide the source of funds and stealth addresses to hide the receiver. Therefore, if the blockchain is analyzed, there will be no useful information regarding the senders and the receivers. Not only that, even the sender, once the money is sent from the sender doesn't really know where the money is going, again due to the use of stealth addresses, which are not the real address. So when you give a receiving address to a sender, this address is only used once, and it's not your real actual address. It's only an address to be used for a transaction. Therefore, if you think of it, you can actually buy Monero using any method, and this method will be much more anonymous than using Bitcoins. So even if you verify your identity when buying Monero, once you transfer your coins from the website that you bought it to your own local wallet, this money becomes untraceable and unlinkable to the account that you used to buy Monero. The only way that this can be linked to you is if you make a mistake, an OPSEC mistake, and someone hacks into your computer, or if you're forced by a law enforcement agency to give information about where you use that Monero. So they'll be able to see that you bought Monero on X website, but they won't know which wallet this Monero went to and what it was used for unless you go ahead and give them the information yourself. With that being said, there are some methods that would be more private and more anonymous, because sometimes we just don't want to share our identity and our private information with online websites. Even if this identity will not be linked to our wallet, it's just not ideal. What if that website gets hacked? What about the employees working in it? And the list goes on, again, similar to any privacy concern. So, just like Bitcoin, the most anonymous way of getting Monero is to mine it yourself. Use a powerful computer, help maintain the Monero blockchain, and with doing that, you will be awarded XMR or Monero coins, and then use that to purchase or send funds to friends and family. Now, doing that is not simple. I can actually make a full course on that, and it's not feasible to everybody. That's why I'm not going to cover it in this course. The other option is, again, something that we discussed when we were buying Bitcoins, is to use an exchange. So you can use any exchange you want. Like I said, even if the exchange requires you to verify your identity, that's fine, because once the funds leave the exchange, they will be untraceable and they won't be able to link your actual identity to your Monero wallet. Not only that, but some exchanges will not even require you to verify your identity if you're buying small amounts. Now, these exchanges change their policies all the time, so the ones that don't require identity verification now will probably require it in the future, and others that require it right now might not require it. Therefore, the best thing to do is to come to Get Monero, go to exchanges. I will include this link in the resources of this lecture, and go over them, see which ones are allowing people to buy Monero without verifying identity. And if you can't find any, again, it's okay to verify your identity and buy Monero, because like I said, your identity will still not be linkable to your wallet. Some popular ones in here are Bittrex, Binance, BISC, and Bitfinex. Now, there are other good ones here. Like I said, go over them, read their policy before using them, but most of the ones that are listed here are pretty good anyway. And using them is very, very easy. It's usually the same. You click on the website, you sign up, you buy Monero, and then you transfer it to your wallet. And I will explain how to transfer funds to and from your wallet in the next lectures. I'm not going to cover that though, because like I said, it is not ideal. At the end of the day, you still might have to verify your identity, and even though it's not linked to your wallet, a lot of us might not want to share our identity with third-party websites. Another really good option is to exchange an existing cryptocurrency with Monero. So with this option, we can use our Bitcoins that we already obtained anonymously using a P2P service or a Bitcoin ATM or one of the other methods that we discussed earlier, and then exchange it to Monero. So we already obtained our coins in an anonymous way, and then we're buying Monero, which is even more anonymous because it hides information about the sender, receiver, and the amount. Therefore, the coins in our local Monero wallet will be very, very anonymous. This is a really good option and can be used in so many scenarios. You can even use it if you have coins that are not anonymous and exchange them to Monero to increase their anonymity and become more private. Therefore, I will spend a full lecture talking about how to do this. So stay tuned for that. Another option is to use an ATM, similar to what we did with Bitcoin, and you can actually use the same website to find ATMs that sell Monero. So the same website, coinatmradar.com, you scroll down or you put your country in the search box, and you can uncheck everything here in the left and only keep Monero checked to get the ATMs that only support Monero. Now, as you can see, there aren't many. There are much less than Bitcoin, and in my country, in Ireland, there aren't any. So this option might not be applicable to everybody, but if there is a Monero ATM, then this is a really good option if you can buy it with cash. All you have to do is just go put the receiving address of your wallet and you'll receive the funds in your wallet, very similar to what we did with Bitcoin ATMs. Therefore, there is no point of covering it again, but you can go and revise the lecture where I use the Bitcoin ATM if you want more information about it. Last but not least, you can use a peer-to-peer service. Again, we showed off a similar service for Bitcoin. For Monero, it's exactly the same. You just need to use a different website. The website is called localmonero.co. The way it works is very similar to the Bitcoin website. All you have to do is put the amount that you want to buy. For example, let's say I want to buy 25 euros worth of Bitcoin. You put the country, in my case it's Ireland, and we're looking for all online offers. So from this drop-down list, you can list all of the payment methods. As you can see, you can pick cash, which is very, very anonymous. You can do cash by mail. You can do cash at ATM. So there are a number of methods. Once you're happy with all the options, you click on search and you'll get all the local sellers that will allow you to buy Monero using the payment method that you selected. Now, as you can see, again, in my country, in Ireland, unfortunately, there aren't any local sellers. But if you pick a bigger country, such as the United States, you will actually see a number of sellers that will sell you Monero by cash by mail and other anonymous payment services. Again, using this is very simple. All you'll have to do is click on buy, follow the instructions, send the money to your local Monero address, which I will show you in the next lecture. And that's pretty much it. You'll have the money in your wallet. And because you're using Monero, the money is untraceable and unlinkable to previous transactions. So that's it for this lecture. Just wanted to list the main methods that you can use to buy Monero anonymously. And in the next lecture, we'll talk about how to exchange it with other cryptocurrencies, and we'll see how to send and receive Monero. In this lecture, I want to talk about crypto exchanges. These are services that allow us to exchange one cryptocurrency to another. These can be very useful because you might want to get a certain crypto, for example, Monero, but you can't find any peer-to-peer sellers in your area, or there are no ATMs which you can use to get that cryptocurrency. Therefore, you can get a more popular cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin and then exchange it to Monero. Right now, I'm only talking about Bitcoin and Monero, but there are a lot of different types of cryptocurrencies that you can exchange. So learning how to use exchanges will open the door to so many possibilities. For example, what you can do is you can use cash, so use an anonymous method to buy Bitcoins, so you're already anonymous at this point, and then to increase your anonymity, use a crypto exchange to exchange Bitcoins to Monero, and then you're very, very anonymous and very hard to trace. Alternatively, let's say the end goal is you want Bitcoins because you're sending money to a person or a seller that only accepts Bitcoin, but you want to be as anonymous as possible. Then you can buy Monero with cash, again using one of the methods I explained in the previous lecture, and then convert this Monero to Bitcoin using a crypto exchange. Now, as you know, cash is anonymous. Transferring the money into a Monero wallet will make it even more anonymous, like we said, because it hides the sender and the receiver and it's not linkable. And then sending that to Bitcoins will make your Bitcoins very, very anonymous and very hard to trace and tie to your identity. Alternatively, let's say you tried everything and you could not buy a cryptocurrency with cash with an anonymous method. That's fine. You can use an exchange service such as Coinbase and others that would verify your identity, and then the money you use will be tied to your identity. But you transfer that money to a Monero wallet. Again, once you do that, that link is broken because Monero hides the sender and the receiver using ring signatures and stealth addresses. Therefore, once you send that money to a Bitcoin wallet, it's very anonymous, and the Bitcoin address that you're going to use will not be linked to your identity, even though you verified your identity when you bought the cryptocurrency, when you bought Monero for the first time. You can do the same, again, use a service that verifies your identity because these are available in everywhere in the world, so you can always use them as a last resort. And again, buy Bitcoins. Now, at this stage, the Bitcoin address will be linked to your identity because Bitcoin is not anonymous. But once you convert that Bitcoin into Monero, the link is broken and this wallet right here will be very private and will not be linked to your identity. All of this is possible thanks to exchange services that allow us exchange one cryptocurrency to another, and the anonymity is possible because of the way Monero is implemented, because of the way it uses ring signatures and stealth addresses. Now, to go even one step further and become very, very anonymous, what you can do is you can use what's known as churning, and basically whenever money arrives into a Monero wallet, you can transfer it between multiple Monero wallets before sending it to another place or before converting it to another currency, or you can literally send the money to the same wallet. Again, with Monero, sender and the receiver are not linked, so every time you send money from one address to another, even if you're sending it to the same wallet, that increases the distance between the wallet and the source of the funds, therefore making it very, very difficult to trace. So, in order to be able to do all of this, you'll have to use a crypto exchange. Now, there are a number of crypto exchanges. If you just go on Google and type crypto exchange, you'll get a lot of services. If you go to Get Monero Community, you will see a number of services here as well, and I will include this in the resources of this lecture. And like I said, the policies of these services change often, so always stay updated on what's new. Always stay updated to see which ones will require to register and verify ID or not. But at the time of recording this lecture, a really good service is Morph Token right here. It doesn't require us to sign up, and it doesn't require ID verification. Using these services is pretty much the same. Therefore, in the next lecture, I'm going to show you how to use this one just as an example, but you'll be able to apply the same steps when using other similar services. Okay, so now that we know what crypto exchanges are and how they can be used to convert one cryptocurrency to another and why you might want to do this, in this lecture, I'm going to give you an example of using a crypto exchange called Morph Token. Most of these exchanges are very similar anyway, so this will give you a good idea on how to use any crypto exchange really. Anyway, in general, these websites use very intuitive and easy to use interfaces. So for this one right here on the left, you have to specify the deposit currency. So as you know, we want to transfer from Bitcoin. So if you're depositing a different type of coin, you can pick it from here, but I'm leaving it at Bitcoin because we want to actually deposit Bitcoin and we want to transfer that. We want to receive Monero. Again, if you want to convert your Bitcoins to another coin, all you have to do is click in here and select the other coin. Next, you want to specify the amount of deposit, the amount of Bitcoins that you want to convert to Monero or to the destination currency. Now, for this website, the minimum amount that you can convert is 5 micro Bitcoins, so 0.005. You should read the frequently asked questions of whatever service you're using to make sure that you send more than the minimum amount, because sometimes if you send less than the minimum amount, it will be considered as a donation. So this is similar to what happens with Bitcoin mixers. Now, if we go down into my wallet, I have my Electrum wallet right here, my Bitcoin wallet. You can see that my balance is 5.6 micro Bitcoins. So this is 0.0056. You divide this value by 1,000 to convert it from micro Bitcoins to Bitcoins. So I have more than the minimum amount. So that's fine. So I'm going to set this to the minimum amount. Now remember, like I said, this is in Bitcoins, not in micro Bitcoins. So 5.6 micro Bitcoins will be equal to 0.0056 Bitcoins. Now I actually don't want to send all of this. I'm just going to send 5 micro Bitcoins. So it's 0.005. The receive is already set to Monero, so we're good to go. You can also use the weight in here if you want to convert the deposit coin to a number of different cryptocurrencies. So you can click on the plus in here to add more entries. And when you do that, for example, in this case, 50% of my Bitcoins will be converted to Monero and 50% will be converted to Ethereum, which is another cryptocurrency. And you can keep clicking on the plus and split your Bitcoins into a number of different cryptocurrencies if you want. Now, in my case, I want to keep everything for Monero, so I'm going to click on the minus here and we're going to click on Morph to start the process. In the next page, it's asking us for the refund address. This is the address of the wallet that will send the funds. As the name suggests, the only reason you need this, in case something goes wrong, the money will not be lost, it will be sent back to the wallet that it came from or to the address that you specify in here. So I'm going to go down and this is the wallet that will send the money. And I'm going to set it as the refund wallet. So I'm going to click on receive as usual, copy its address and paste it here. That's done. The next step is to give the address of our Monero wallet, which will receive our Bitcoin coins after being converted to Monero or XMR. So again, we're going to go down and this is my Monero wallet. You'll notice that using these wallets is actually very similar. If you want to receive money, you click on receive, similar to what we do with Electrum. Now, in your case, you'll probably only have one address in here, the primary address. I have 2 other addresses here because I created them manually, and it's actually a very good idea to always create new addresses for every transaction you make. Therefore, this is a new transaction. I'm going to click on create a new address. You can set any label for this, so I'm going to call it test3, and I'm going to click on OK. And now when I click on this, you'll see that the QR image changed. This is the QR image for address 3 for this wallet, and I can click on this icon right here to copy this address to my clipboard. As you can see in here, it's saying the address is added to the clipboard, and I'm going to go back to my website and I'm going to paste it here so that this will be the address that will receive the coins after they're converted to Monero or XMR. Once we're happy with setting the refund address and the receiving address, I'm going to click on start to start the process. And perfect, now the process has started. We have our ID right here. If you go down, again, you can see it's telling you what's the minimum amount that you can transfer. It's 0.005. This is what we picked anyway, so that's fine. And then it's giving us the address of the wallet of this website. So we should transfer our coins to the address that we have in here. this website will convert our Bitcoins to Monero and then transfer it to the address that we gave as the receiving address, which is the address of this wallet. So right now I need to go to the wallet that I'm sending money from. I'm going to go to the send tab as we've seen before. We're going to set the pay to address to the address that we got from here, the address of the wallet of this website. You can set a description for this, but I'm going to leave it blank. That's fine. The amount, we're going to set that to 5. Remember, this is in micro Bitcoins, so it's equal to 0.005, which is what we picked in here when we initiated the process. I'm going to keep the fees as they are, and I'm going to click on send to send the Bitcoins. I'm going to put my password, and perfect. Now the payment is sent. And if we look in our history tab, you can see that it's sent. It's still unconfirmed. So you want to wait for this as usual. And if we go to the website, you can see that it's waiting for confirmation, but it received my 0.005 Bitcoins. So all we need to do right now is literally wait for these guys to receive my Bitcoins, convert them to Monero, and then they will transfer it to my Monero wallet right here. Now I've actually paused the video for a bit, and right now, as you can see, I received the funds in my Monero wallet. If you click on account, you should see the amount that you transferred in here in your wallet. And as you can see right now, this is in XMR in Monero. So we basically converted our coins from Bitcoin to Monero XMR. And like I said, once we do this, we basically broken the link between all of the previous transactions and the coins in this wallet. So right now, if I go ahead and use the coins in this wallet for anything, it'll be untraceable and unlinkable to the Bitcoin wallet that sent the money to this wallet right here. So even if the Bitcoin wallet was linked to my identity or compromised, it's still safe to use this wallet in here because it is not linked to the previous wallet. And therefore, it's not linked to my real identity. Now, before wrapping up this section, I want to draw your attention to something that is very, very important. In many countries, using darknet markets is illegal even if you buy legal goods or if you're paying for legal services. The reason for this is a lot of darknet markets also include illegal goods and illegal services. So if you're using a market that offers illegal services, in many countries, using this market is illegal even if you're buying legal goods. And the reason for that is you'll be considered that you're aiding a criminal organization or an organization that is involved in criminal activity. Now, this is not the same for all countries, like I said, so you want to check with your country. And you can always just use normal darknet markets that just don't offer illegal services and illegal goods. Unfortunately, these are hard to find, but I just wanted to get this idea across. Now, throughout all the previous lectures and sections, we learned a number of things, and I tried to cover them as isolated modules so you can plug them in whenever you need to use them. So we learned how to access the internet anonymously, we learned how to access the darknet, we learned how to discover darknet services or hidden services or onion services, we learned how to communicate privately and anonymously using anonymous email providers, using private instant messaging, we learned how to add end-to-end encryption, we learned how to use PGP, we learned how to share files anonymously and so on. So you can use any of these skills depending on the situation that you're in, because I can't imagine all of the possible uses that you want to use these skills for. For example, you can be a security researcher, simply researching what's happening on the deep net, or you can be a journalist trying to communicate with your colleagues anonymously because you have some sensitive information. So the possibilities are endless, but in my opinion, the skills that I covered so far can be used to do pretty much anything that you want to do on the darknet. So you should even be able to use them to buy goods if you wanted to, as long as what you're doing is legal in your country. because I've taught you how to create an email, and you will need an email when you're signing up with marketplaces. I taught you how to communicate using PGP, and you will need to use that when you're communicating with sellers. And I taught you how to obtain cryptocurrency, send it and receive it. And again, you'll need that to pay for services and goods. So like I said, again, this is one example, one use of the skills that I taught you, but they can be used to pretty much do anything you want on the darknet, or if you just simply want to use the internet in a more private and more anonymous manner.